Welcome to another edition of Damn TV with Damn Sam.
How are we doing? Damn Sam here. Happy Monday. Monday's job. Dry rot. What is dry rot? Well, dry rot's a fungus that affects timbers, walls, and all that sort of stuff. So we came and did an extent survey. We identified dry rot in this property. Sorry about the camera keeps dropping down. So we identified dry rot in this property, and basically floor had dropped in. They sent us photos through. I more or less knew it was dry rot just from photos, but it had to come out ID properly. And then they decided, or we gave them a price for an extent survey to find out how far it had spread. So we've given them a price and to do the job, and we're starting it today. But what I wanted to do is I just wanted to show you what's happened so far. So we've got here, and we took all the scuttings off because we're taking floor up. And interesting thing is, this job was damp proofed a year ago, apparently, and this is a system what they've put on. Now, this is this system, opposed to system that I use, which is safeguard system. One of the reasons why I don't like using this above ground is because it just seals everything in. So it's a good system, and it can be bulletproof, does everything in. And the issue what we've got here is at the same time they'd had some decking put down, and you've got one air brick over in that corner, and decking what covered air brick. So that stopped any airflow and subflow. You've got some vents out front. But when I've been taking this off, so I've took this plastic off this wall, and it's dry, but we can see with mycelium's been growing, and strands have gone through. But what's interesting is that this wall, just another thing is that apparently next door has got dry rot in more or less the same place, and I've seen photos from their floor, and they've got heating pipes in, and my conclusion is that it started in there and it's come through this wall somehow. There's either holes in thing. I can see some holes anyway, but and it's grown through. So it's been under subfloor, undetected, and it's grown through wall, looking for timber, celluloid, sugars in timbers to feed off. But what's interesting is as I'm pulling this off, like down here, this membrane, it's wet through. It's absolutely wet through on back here. There's some salt sink brickwork up here, and I know that all these timbers down here, where these timbers are down here, where they went into the wall, all them have rotted, and there were a timber under here, and I've just pulled it out, and a floorboard underneath. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to cut this off. This used to be a doorway, so this was a doorway, and I'm going to cut that off, and then just see what we can see what's behind it and what we can do behind it. Like I said, we've got all floor to get up, but one of my points is that this is dry rot, which we're on with embedded timbers. So you've got your mycelium, bit of a fruiting body, and some strands. Cuboidal cracking, which is a sign on timber. So basically timber splits into cubes because all sugars have been took out, and it starts to shrink and goes right brittle. And that's why you need to, it needs to be done correctly. There's a system to getting rid of dry rot, and you have to follow procedures. What I was saying is, reason why I'm not adhered to that membrane stuff above ground level is because you do get condensation forming behind it. You can get ingress running down, and if it's not done right, that ingress is going to run into subfloor. So you got added moisture levels. I mean, it's only while damp course kicks in. So when it's drilled and injected, your wall should dry out over a few months, and masonry will return to what we call equilibrium. So all moisture that we're in for rising damp will eventually evaporate out at wall, and after that you'd be alright. But because there's been no airflow, condensation has been forming in there, so it's just added to fuel to fire for dry rot. Now we've got to get this floor up, got to get that floor up in there, and I know there's a fruiting body down here, so I took floor up when I came to do an extent survey and saw it down there. So I'll have I'll have a better picture of what's happening under floor when I get everything up. But when I was doing my testing, all this area were okay at back of it, but we're going to get it up anyway, and then just see what's going to be took out, what's going to be left in, what's going to be treated in situ. We've got all this wall to take off, and so I just thought it were interesting that that it's still wet behind that membrane. Good system when it's done right, but I'm not a fan because I mean I know there's a lot of traditionalists out there, but it is sealing wall basically. So this system is called cavity drainage membrane, and it's supposed to allow a small cavity back at brickwork or where it's up against masonry. So because it's got dimples in it, there's different size ones. You go from a 1 mil right up to a 20 mil foot floor, but it allows air to flow across back of it, but you need air to be circulating in. So if it's sealed at bottom and sealed at top, it's basically sealed in. So it's got to be done correctly. That's what I'm trying to say. And whether all jobs are done correctly, I don't know. But that's one thing to watch out for. Make sure you've got air circulating. Or just duct system that I use. You know what I mean? Safeguard fetched it out. Stick a put salt neutralizer on. Stick plasterboard on with dry grip. Any ingress that comes out at wall will diffuse through plasterboard because it's water vapour, it's a gas. It'll go through. It takes longer to go through a plastic, and it can condense on inside. So, and they'll fetch it out for below ground levels or with us. Forgot for it with us air ground levels outside and moisture's coming in. It's Monday morning anyway. So I'll see you at next video. Damp Sam here, it's second day. We've got a bit more done than yesterday. And you have to excuse me because my selfie stick's gone a bit floppy. Right, what have we done? First job, we're getting ventilation in. Rapid drying when it's a dry rot job. So what we've done on this elevation, there were one air vent, and that were down there on right. So I've created 2 more just under step to allow air to flow straight through. When decking's reinstated, he's going to put some air vents where air vents is, if you know what I mean, to allow air to flow down, under, and then across. These walls here, you see where wires go through, which is there, and then where joists are going into the wall, we're going to allow air to flow through there. Same under here, it's all been knocked out. So you've got air holes on bottom, and then you've got some in between joists, because we're just gonna pack them with wedges. So you've got wedges there, and then if you look there where the door is, what I've had to do, I've fitted 3 vents there, and then on other side, because it's so slim, I've just put we've put some air holes in all the way on, so it'll allow air to flow through here, then and out, and then vice versa, because there's only a bit of a porch on there. It's like a lean-to thing. And then in here again, air's going to flow underneath there. There's a massive gap there, and there's a gap underneath that bit there going into the room. And then outside, let's take it outside and just show you vents that we've put in there. So they're all super plastic floor. That's James. Say hello.
Hello.
There you go. Sounds like our son, eh? Hello. So you've put one on side elevation, and then there were already two on here. So I've put extra one on side, and then we've fitted them 2 there. So this is that lean-to on side. So you've got, can't really see, but basically way it's built, it's really cold and there's a lot of air going in. So so that started it. So basically it needs rapid drying, so it needs plenty of air in its subfloor. We've cleared it all out, if you've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed, but everything's been took out, all debris, and what we did notice is the one vent that were here, that was just filled up with stuff. So we've been working down there. So we've been working in that corner. What they've done is they've lifted floorboards there, and they've just swept all rubbish down, and it had filled past vent. So there just no way that air could circulate in this subfloor. So that was one of the issues. Now I initially thought that next door had that rising amp had started in dry rot had started in next door's property, because I'd seen them hot water pipes in wall adjacent to that. Now if you look here, when we took this floor up, so obviously in this corner here is where I saw dry rot fruiting body, and then there'd also been one on that joist there that runs across there. Now, luckily this one must have been a new one down here. There's no decay to timber at all. All decay were down in that corner where pipes were. So I'm tipping that outbreak probably started there. And then underneath here, there's a small wall, but inside there, I initially thought it was a concrete floor. Well, it is. It's a concrete floor, but timber went so far under. So we've took all timber out of there. And what my next job is now he's spraying it. So I'm going to treat these timbers on here just before we go. So I'll spray it all with dry rot treatment just before we go. And as you noticed, what other thing we've done is render these walls, stop any strands that are coming through if they're going to come from next door. I initially cut that board off. I've just reinstated that. That was sprayed yesterday. What else? And then other stuff will get reinstated once floor goes down. So we've got all treated timbers. The pressure treated, so the double vac. Measure them all up, and then you have to send them off and get them pressure treated. So they'll be reinstated. They'll be stated when joiner comes tomorrow, and then floorboard on top, and then we'll start reinstating plasterworks after joiner's finished. So I mean, when you come and do an extent survey, there's only so much you can see through cutting little holes. It's only when you get floor up that you can see, you know, what's really happening. I mean, like under here, see that gap there? That was just, we've had done whatever, it were an old floorboard, so they must have concreted straight onto a floorboard, but it just were all rotted. It was chipboard and all, so that had all just rotted. What else can I tell you? I think that's about it. So basically, we clear everything out. Make sure that there's plenty of air flowing on in the subfloor, and then once everything's sealed in, what we've done is we've made sure that there's natural ventilation. So conditions are not going to be right for dry rot to start growing, forming, germinating, whatever you want to use. Your conditions for dry rot is warm, humid, lots of water, and dark. So we can't do much about being dark, but we can stop it being humid. So that's the other thing. So I'm going to put a membrane down after tomorrow morning before joiner starts. It's going to be a membrane goes down on here, and then that reduces humidity in subfloor, because this is an earth oversight. So we'll put membrane down, and then that just reduces humidity. So you'll see tomorrow on video a couple of pictures, and then see you on next bit. So we're back again, Damp Sam here on this dry rot job. Want to show you we've got floor down, and we've boarded walls ready for skimming. So if you have a look at that, so this is floor. It's been made up to concrete level. What I'm going to do is, where we've formed it, we're going to blend it in, just cut it back and blend it in with Natsem. Right half here, which before weren't finished off brilliantly, but with Natsem all we need to do is just wet it down, mix Natsem up, and then just put a straight thin coat across that, and when it sets it'll be rock hard. They can carpet straight up to earth. That brick that come out, got that back in place. So it all looks a lot neater. They had this bit here, they had floorboards up to here, and then they had a timber piece, and it was loose and everything. So now that goes into alcove. It's all finished off nice. Treated timber flooring, and it's going to look brilliant once we've done it. Put a trap in there for because there's a stop tap under there. Finished off up here. Going to blend them in. Yeah, so and we've got all ventilation in there. That's going to be reinstated outside. I'm just trying to think if there's hotels I can think of. Architraves will go back on. Radiators will go back on once we've skimmed it. And then tomorrow, joiner's going to come and he'll put skirting boards back on. So we've kind of got it done in a week. I mean, once we started taking floor up, I didn't know what I was going to find, but obviously we can deal with it because we're used to seeing that many different types of dry rot and where it goes. That I mean, you'll see on pictures if you look back, but that looks good, doesn't it? I'll just follow it, I'll just go around like that all the time. There you go. So in this corner here, this is where floor collapsed. I think this is how they do that thing on Hampton Deck, isn't it? You know what I mean? With woman thing. But that's where floor collapsed here, in this corner. And this bit here, this is where we found a fruiting body. And then, if I take it in here, just in this corner here, there was a fruiting body, which we've dealt with, and I think this is where outbreak started, in this corner, because there's heating pipes under here, and there were no air flowing under the floor. So what I've done is we've put some air bricks here, so air's going to flow from here, three air bricks in there, so air's going to flow this way, through here, in there, and then out at back, and then out of there. So there you go. I can't think of what else. If I think of what else, I'll tell you on the next bit, because they'll all be linked together. Cue photo. Damp Sam here, end of the day, got all done, so it's all skimmed, all angles, all nice, all straight. I've just mixed up some Nats and tank. This is what I was saying about this this last bit here. Just fill that in, that'll set rock solid. Just blended edges in as well, so carpet will run. Alright, I mean, they'll have to put a decent underlay down anyway, but that'll just finish it off. We've just got an issue with radiator. I remember when we took joist out down there, they drilled at an angle like that through joist. So when joiners put joist in, he didn't know, because it me that took joist out, it'll not lift up. So we're going to have to put a trap in there and then try and chisel it out, so it's going to have some give. Just going to have to adjust these with joiners gone through with floor tomorrow when it comes to skirting. We'll just open that out a bit, and then we can just plumb it back in. So that's productive day done, cleaned up. There you go, final look. Might send you, I might do a video tomorrow, but if not, please subscribe, see some more stuff. See you later. Damp Sam back here, and we've finished. So job from start to finish, you've just seen it, seen all the photos. Just move back here. We've got floor that's been reinstated. All timbers treated, and timbers that's left have been treated. Walls have been treated, dry rot treatments. Everything, all decayed timbers took out, reinstated with double vac timbers, and then reinstatement to everything else, plastering, flooring. What main thing that we've done is added new subfloor ventilation. So 3 new vents out here. So you've got 3 new vents out there, which are feeding subfloor. And when this decking's reinstated by people that fitted it, they're going to put some holes to allow air to flow through, and then we've put some more ventilation in here. We cleared all subfloor out of, which were full of rubbish. That vent was covered over, and then we've put some ventilation in there, allow air to flow through there, put new plastic subfloor superfloor vents in front, and put like for like in here. So it's all just ready for decorating now. So it's a job well done, all cleaned up, ready for owners to come in, choose the new carpets, and that's Friday's job done. So again, if you want to subscribe, if you want to pass this video on to somebody that you might think has got dry rot, they can see what is needed, what needs to be done, and hopefully they'll be able to get a contractor that's going to make a good job. So that's Damp Sam signing off on a Friday. Enjoy your weekend.